Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to Tisa's Rants and Musings 2021. Come on in the room. Drop a note. Let me know that you're here so I can shout you out. You need to let me know that you have crossed over into 2021, that you have survived, that God has yet been good to you. So come on, drop in the comments that you are here so I can shout you out before we get started. I'm excited about today's show. With all that is happening in the world, you guys already know that I have been wanting to get on here and rant, okay? But because of the way it was going yesterday, it wouldn't have been a godly rant, so I decided not to. But we're going to stay focused today, and we're going to be focusing on visioning. And I'm telling you, if tomorrow didn't make you realize, and what was done in Georgia by our sister Stacey Abrams, if that didn't inspire you, then I don't know what will. Okay, so come on in the room. Let me know you're here. You guys know I don't wait for a long time for people to come on in because you can always go back and watch the show whenever you can. But I have a special guest tonight, and I just want us to talk about how do we take this 2020 visioning to the next level. So come on in so I can get started. Several people told me they weren't going to be able to make it tonight, some of my faithful followers, but the rest of you, drop a note, let me know you're there. And so we can go ahead and start talking about getting this 2021 set up right. Okay. Come on in the space. I've already seen people write memes that they want to cancel their free subscription to 2021 because the 7-day free trial sucks. I thought that was so cute. It was hilarious to me. I'm not canceling 2021. I'm still believing it's going to be a great year. I'm still believing that God's going to do some great and wonderful things. Hey, Mom, glad you're able to be in the room. Hey, Kristen, good to see you guys. We have so much to be grateful for. And after what we saw, hey, Deidre, good to see you. Happy New Year. After what we saw was going on yesterday, if you don't get that you need a plan for your life because you can't trust too many folk in this place called America and in this government, I don't know what else would get you to recognize this. We, especially as a community of African Americans and Black people and from the African diaspora, we definitely have to think more and harder about our visions for our lives and healing the brokenness in our families. So I'm excited tonight. Again, there's so much that we can say. So I want to give our special guest, hey, Alana, thanks for stopping on in. I know you said you were busy, but I want to give our guests as much time as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to let her come on as people come in. And now, we're going to do what we do, right? All right, let's go ahead and get started. Yes, it's another episode of Tisa's Rants and Musings, and our special guest tonight her name is Monique The Coach. Okay, that's all you need to know is Monique The Coach. I met her many years ago, and it's just amazing how you don't necessarily. I love those relationships where you don't talk to people, you just watch what they're doing, and you're proud and you're admiring them from afar, and you just give a little words here if they post something perhaps, but you stay connected via social media, and so that's how our relationship has been. And when I thought of who can I bring on to really talk to us about taking our visions and making them plain and writing them down and doing something different. I've been doing vision boarding for a few years now, but I want to be able to leverage and get the most that I can out of that vision boarding process. Many of us, hey, Rebecca, are doing vision boards. We do it for fun. We go get with our girlfriends and then we throw it in the back somewhere, or if we feel like it's in the way, we don't know what happened to the vision board. We don't remember what we put on the board. It was just a moment in time for us to share with our girlfriends, and then we good. Yeah, no. Monique the Coach is a vision boarding queen. Okay. She's been doing this before it became popular, over a decade of experience doing coaching. She's certified in emotional wellness and transformational coaching. So I have her on, coming on tonight to help us take the vision boarding process, just the concept of visioning to the next level. So, Tisa's Rants and Musings, would you please help me welcome to the show Monique the Coach? Yay!
Yay! Yay!
Hi,
Hello, everyone. Hi. Thank you so much for having me. Happy Thursday. How are you today?
I am good. We are good. I'm better than yesterday. Okay, better
That's
than yesterday because I was meant to rant yesterday about the white privilege that was on display. But listen, what it did do, there was what's been happening to me has been, that negative. I don't want to overshadow the miraculous that happened in Georgia. Right?
right.
I don't want that to really overshadow what Stacey Abrams and Warnock and all of those in Georgia were really able to do by turning that state blue. But what I love about it most is that this was a Black woman that handled defeat. Hey, Michelle, handled defeat. She handled the embarrassment of the defeat, and she didn't give up. She didn't, but she had to have had a plan.
Hmm.
Girlfriend had to have had a plan. So I was inspired even more so that this is the right time to have this conversation
Right.
about how do we vision? How do we, because I don't think she's no better than no one else. Like she's, not to take away her knowledge and expertise, don't get me wrong, but to just say that, listen, we too can do some great things, but we gotta have vision. We
Right.
gotta have a plan.
Well,
I,
that's what we do as women of color. When we step up and we have a plan and we open our mouth, welcome to Harlem. This is my
Oh
background.
yes, let me let you know. This is another Harlem chick. Harlem has been really on the show these days.
Let me shut
So
my window. Anything can happen on live, right? Give me one
yes,
second.
anything can happen. They going to dinner. Okay.
Okay, you can kind of still hear what's going on, but that drowned it out a little bit.
Yes. And this is Harlem, right? It is what it is.
It is what it is. But when we as women of color, when we step up and we put our foot down and we speak, everybody just falls in line. So kudos to her for just being an amazing woman.
Yes,
Period.
and being able to what leadership to be able to immobilize people after defeat. See, a lot of times people jump on the bandwagon when you've won, and then they say,
Right.
"Oh, yeah, she won. She did, you're the new best thing." But when you've lost and you still can mobilize the people to do even greater than what you had thought you were going to do in the first place, what a wonderful, wonderful accomplishment. And so I'm hoping everybody else is inspired with our own lives. How do we take our own visions, our own, goals and plans to the next level? How do we leverage this time? And we usually, everyone do these resolutions. I haven't done resolutions for years. I do my one word for the year, but I
Right.
have been doing vision boarding. And I've looked at my vision board, and while it's given me great joy to look at it, I don't necessarily know if I'm leveraging enough of it, if I'm really using it as best as possible. So why don't you really just even break down the concept? People know what vision boarding is to a certain extent, but they really don't know. Hey, Robin, they really don't know how critical and important it can really be to planning.
Right. So when you step into vision boarding, first let me start by saying anyone can grab a vision board and cut and paste and place objects on a board, of course. But when you start talking about visioning and manifesting and calling things forth, you
Yes,
have to start with intention, because
yes,
you do have the power. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but it does say we were created in his image.
yes,
So we have the power to call things forth, and those things can be either good or bad, right? So when you start talking about visioning and manifesting, it's important to start with intention. And that would include, saying a prayer or having some meditation time before you go into vision boarding. That would include, speaking over your magazines and saying, Lord, guide me and take me where you will have me go.
I
You
love
know.
that. I
Mhm.
love that. Me and someone, even Robin, who's on the line, we've been talking about intention. She also does this
Mhm.
kind of work as well. And we were just talking about setting your intentions, being intentional about setting your intentions, right?
Right.
So that when you're making movements in the world, it's not just you doing to be doing. Everything is with purpose. Everything that you are setting your hands to. But I love what you just said when you said pray over even the magazines. I never thought
Mhm.
about that. I've just
Right.
grabbed magazines wherever I can find some magazines, and I just was like, okay, these are my magazines. But I never thought
Right.
to pray over them. I never thought to even invite God into that process like that.
God is in everything that we do, everything. So to make what am I trying to say? In efforts to create what's going to happen next in your life, we are co-creators. He's the creator. We are co-creators. So if we are co-creating, let's say we are business owners and you have a business partner. You're not going to make a decision in your business without consulting with your business partner first, right? And if you do, it may not turn out so well. So they say
Right,
that we plan and God laughs. Is that the saying?
right, right.
Right. So you want to set your intentions with God or your higher self or the universe, however you refer to that higher power or your source. You want to set those intentions, and it's important to do so in order to know that your faith without works is dead. So you believing and moving in faith, you already know is what's going to happen. Your vision board is going to come to fruition. Period.
I love it. I love it. So let's talk about it. Last year, and I pulled out my vision boards because I do keep them visually here, um, you know, in my kitchen so that I can see. And I typically surround my around my one word for the year, right?
Oh,
Maybe you
look
can
at that.
kind of
Yeah.
see it.
Oh,
So
yeah, that's beautiful.
my one word last year was manifest.
Hmm.
And I categorized it between health, between creating, between love, um, and wealth, right? And I've got
Right.
beautiful pictures on here, and I was able to manifest. Don't get me wrong, this year I've manifested more than I have in a long time. Sans Tissa's Rant Musings, right? That
Right.
just burst out of me and my big mouth. But years prior, I can say that um, while I did great, this was another one that I had done, and I keep them all because they're like a record for me. So this one was when
Absolutely.
my word for the year was blossom, right? But I was also going through the healing journey. So a lot of it was around healing and blossoming and blooming. And I felt that came to pass. But I remember a time when I used to literally cut out the things that I wanted,
Hmm.
right? I
Right.
used to literally cut them out, put them on my board where I'm actually visually seeing the things that I'm asking God for. I used to have the car that I wanted because we used to have this hoopty, and I was like, okay, God, I'm thank for this car, right?
Right.
And I used to have all these different things on my board. And while this is great and I love it, I want to take it to the next level.
Right.
So why don't you just give us some tips, some techniques on how to really capitalize and leverage this process, this activity?
Well, in order to get the most out of your vision boarding, it's important to visualize, right? And so I do that on a daily basis. I spend at least Well, I do a lot within an hour in the morning, but I take at least 10 to 15 minutes to visualize. I take one thing off my vision board That's actually my vision board from last year. Still working on my 2021 board. But I take one particular thing off of my board, and I just sit and I imagine myself already having it, and I feel myself already having it. So, for instance, there's a you probably
Wow.
can't see it, but there's a young lady back there who is a particular body shape that I want, a body image rather. And I just sit and I imagine myself with, with the strong arms and with the flatter stomach, because that's what works for me. But then I have to put work into it again, because faith without works is dead. But
Right.
instead of working out and just not having a plan, I have a goal. My goal is to be this weight and to, look this certain way by a certain time frame, and then I put the work behind it. So just visualizing, sitting with your eyes closed in a quiet space, preferably in the morning. That's when your brain is most receptive to visualizing. And that, to me, well, not to me, but factually, visualizing with your eyes closed for those 10 to 15 minutes is what's actually going to take those things off of your vision board and put them into your life in real time.
Wow. Never thought about that. But I like that you're it's almost like as a part of your meditation. So
Right.
you're adding that where you're actually imagining yourself with or imagining you in that. And I used to do a similar exercise with a girlfriend. I've gotten away from so much. That's why I thought this was a good time to say some things we need to bring back, into our practices. And I really like that. To sit with a vision that you have on your board and just
Right.
imagine yourself with it.
Right.
So
And then don't
I'm gonna cut me out a nice picture of a fine black man, put it on there.
don't get me started with that. Since you opened
Yeah.
that door, let me tap into that, because I know a lot of people are wondering. Most of my followers know my story, but I'm in your audience, so I'll share. I completely and totally manifested my husband. And I know that a lot of us say wait on God, but again, I'm going to keep saying this: faith without works is dead. You can
Right.
want you can want a spouse, a husband or a wife, but if you don't set the proper intentions, just any old body is going to drop into your lap. So what I did was I created a love board, the same way I created my life board back here. I created a love board, and first I wrote out all the characteristics that I wanted him to have. The loving, charming, caring, etc. Even down to the skin complexion, the chocolatey skin complexion and the straight teeth. I needed that. I needed him to be super fine, right? So I wrote those things down, and in addition to that, I cut a picture of a man shopping in the produce section, and then I cut out a picture of a man in the gym. I cut a picture of a black man teaching, because I needed him to be my teacher as well. I did so many different collages for my love board, and I just
Wow.
spoke to my board every day. Hi, husband. Good morning. I love you. I'm so glad you're here. I also created a space in my dresser drawer. I cleared out a drawer for him, and I even wore a wedding band. And I just said, I'm married. When, random gentlemen approach me, I would say, no, thank you. I'm married. And, one would say, how would you know who your husband is if you're telling everybody you're married? And it was just a vibe or energy that I got from that person. So I would flash that little band I had, like, I'm married. Meanwhile, I don't have the first kind of man in sight, but I knew that I was serious about wanting someone who loved the way that I loved. And I needed that. And I said, God, I'm going to sit with myself for a little while. And so I did that for about 4 years, maybe. I mean, I
Wow.
dated here and there, but it didn't really take anybody seriously. And then maybe about 2 years after making my love board, he just appeared. Like, hey. And
Wow.
I didn't realize he was who I manifested until we were dating about maybe 3 or 4 months. And we were at lunch. And he said something to me. And the word that he said to me was a word that I had written down. And I was like, oh my God, you're who I manifested. It just all came, like, it hit me like a ton of bricks, and it was amazing. So yes, Waiting on God is important, but you need to put in the work in between waiting.
Hey, Martha. Hey, Glenda. Sisters, do you hear this? Okay, so I'm having a little love for 2021. And I know how to be specific, after as long as I was married, I'm clear on what I need next. Okay, so
Right.
I'm gonna
Write the vision and make
listen,
it
I'm gonna try not
plain.
to make the board this big. Okay, but I love that.
You better do whatever you're called to do. Yes.
Okay, okay. But I love that. I love that. What you're really saying to us, doesn't have to just be in one area of your life. You can you can set intention to manifest in multiple areas, right? You can set, yes,
Correct.
you can faith in that. You can set the intention and um, like you said, put out the things that you want to see manifested, and at multiple areas of your life. I think sometimes as women, we don't allow ourselves to desire a lot. When we
Right.
start desiring too much, we start saying we desire more than one or two things, and we're doing too much, as if we aren't deserving. So we don't like. I love how you said you put down to the complexion. I can see so many of us afraid to even declare that desire, right? And
Hmm.
but I know it works. It happened for
Right.
me when I was single the first time. I said, God, I want a man that came from a two-family home that was educated, had no children. So many of my
Right.
friends were like, why can't he have kids? What's wrong? And it's like, not saying anything's wrong with someone who has them. I didn't have any, so I didn't want him to have any. God gave me
Right.
that, right? He gave me exactly what I wanted. And granted, it didn't end the way I thought it would, but I'm grateful for all that it was, right?
Right.
So I believe that when you do exactly what you're saying, and to be clear, when you say co-create and manifest, we're not taking God out of the process.
Absolutely not.
It's about working together with him. So that's why I love that you started with the prayer. You started with praying over, and we can even put our desires under the microscope of God. Like God, you can help me. What
Right.
do you have for me? And as he start revealing that, make a board out of that.
Right. Right. Because we have no way of let me I'm getting my water. We have no way of knowing what's to come tomorrow. But we can set the intentions and expect those things that
Yes.
we call what is it, don't get me to quoting the wrong thing. Expect those things as though they were. What?
Yes. Calling those things as though they are. Now I'm getting mixed
Oh,
up. I know what you're talking to. And of
right.
course, in different theological circles, there's that debate on whether or not we are allowed to do it or not, right? But I do believe and agree that as co-creators with God, and as he says to us, life and death is in the power of our tongue, that
Right.
we can set that intention and we can call it forth, provided it's in his will, right? It's under what he has for us. I
Right.
just
There are actually scriptures that I jotted down a few, and I'm pretty sure that it's not accurate, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I believe is Matthew 7:7. Knock and the doors are open, seek and ye
yes,
shall find. So those are the things that those are some of the things that we were given the authority
yes,
to move forward in. Whether you're Christian or not, these are universal laws. If you're knocking on the door, the door is going to open at some point, regardless as
yes,
to what religion you practice or what you call yourself. There's another verse that says, "Write the vision and make it plain," as I mentioned earlier, and I
yes.
believe it's Malachi 3:10. Those are one of the verses that I rely on heavily. I don't recall it word for word, but you guys
Yeah,
have
yeah, no, and that's fine because we get the gist of it, and um that whole writing it down and making it plain to me just sets the groundwork for why we need to really be more committed to vision boarding, right?
right.
Why we really need to be more committed to actually making the vision plain in front of our eyes. And sometimes, so people can say, well, I write my goals down, I look at my goals every day. I think that's great as well,
Right.
but I think there's nothing like visually having visual lizations, right?
Right.
Visual replicas of the things that you have and the intentions you have set in your heart, somewhere
Right.
where you can glance at, we can look at, and you can actually see, and it,
See
it
what's
creates an
happening.
emotional thing too. When you
And
look
it
at it,
does, and the science behind that is that it activates your alpha brain waves, or should I say your spidey senses. So when you're
right,
looking at those pictures, that new car that you cut out, and when you're looking at it, it starts to activate a feeling within you that it makes space, and you're saying you when you start to overthink, you're saying, I don't know how I'm going to afford this, or where I'm going to get the monthly payments from. That's none of your business. You already asked for it. And so now
right.
everything is working in your favor to make way so that you can have it. All you have to have is the belief and the faith. How is none of your business. Just get on out the way. Move
I
over.
love it.
Move
I
over.
love it. I love it. I love it. But that's so hard. So how do you coach people to get out the way? What do we do with that? Because there's a difference between asking and standing on faith, and asking and standing in fear and anxiety, right?
Right, right.
The
And that's
difference in
important.
your kid comes to you, mommy, can I have this? And you say, okay, I'm gonna get it for you, and they come back to remind you, mommy,
Win.
can I have it? Versus, mommy, though, I really need this. Mommy, as if they don't believe that you said you're going to do it. Those are two different ways the request comes out. Help us get out the way. How do we set the intentions, do some of the work? Because, like you said, faith without works is dead, but faith is a part of that. How do we
Right.
get out the way and have faith? How do we not make it
I
our business?
I equate I equate this to being in the gym. If you want your body, if you want to be healthy, it's a daily practice. So when you ask and you know that you're going to receive, that requires daily patience. So that requires a daily morning prayer, daily morning meditation, because prayer is asking, meditation is listening, right? And
Right,
so I do both. And however you want to handle it out there, you can do it whatever works best for you. But I recommend to my clients prayer and meditation. So whatever prayer looks like for you, you do that first, and you set your intentions, and then you take some time, you do some deep breathing, and then you meditate. And that's kind of like your conversation with your source. Prayer and meditation, right? That's your conversation with your source, and that's a daily practice. No different than you shower and you eat daily. Prayer and meditation are required daily in order to stay in faith, especially if you're suffering from depression and anxiety. And you when is it going to come? When is it going to come?
right,
When you start feeling that way, you go and have a seat, the same way you would tell the kids, go have a seat and take a breath. Go sit
right.
down. Tell you, I self-talk a lot. And when I find myself, I'm human, and because I'm a certified coach, that doesn't mean I don't experience those same feelings. And so when I
Right,
find myself, climbing the ladder of anxiety, I gotta tell myself, wait a minute, honey, take a seat, sit down, and relax. And so I incorporate prayer and meditation when I find myself climbing the ladder of anxiety.
I love it. I love it. And I've been trying. That's one of the things, and I shouldn't use the word try. That's one of the things I've been committed to do this year is meditate more. And
Mm-hmm.
I was just, I believe, talking to my girlfriend Rebecca about, we especially in the faith community, my faith community, we're always praying. And it's like, jump on this prayer, jump on that prayer. And we're constantly praying, but it's constant us talking. And I said to her, it's like, who wants to be in a relationship with every time the person calls you, all they're doing is talking? You get no
Yes.
peace. There's no
Ooh,
dialogue
you gave me
here.
goosebumps with that one.
I'm just going, and and I'm going, and I never leave any time for God to respond. I never leave any time for Him to just talk and deposit me. Maybe He just wants to love on me in this moment. But I'm so
Right,
busy asking. I'm so busy petitioning. I'm so busy. And again, there's a balance, and I find that for so many of us, we struggle with the balance. It's always usually too much of one thing or not enough of another, but trying to strike the balance. And I love how you said that they go together. Do them together. When you pray, meditate after
right.
you're done praying. Like, have them as a, you know
It's a
breakfast,
conversation.
like,
It's a
and
conversation. Right,
you're gonna have
right.
bacon and eggs. You're gonna have bacon and eggs, right? You're not gonna have eggs, and then 2 hours later you got the bacon, right? You're gonna have bacon and eggs, right?
Right.
So it
Go hand
goes
in hand.
together. I love that. There
Right.
was something else I wanted to ask you that you really said about, when you stop and you meditate and you do this every morning. Um, how did you develop the discipline? So
Mm,
many times we struggle with being disciplined with doing. I know I do. Let me speak for myself. I probably do nothing um consistently, but other than brush my teeth, like something every day. Like, you know, it's like I get bored. I bore easy, so
right.
it can be hard for me to stay to a schedule of this is what I'm going to do every day at the same time, and you know, I don't know. I don't know if it's good or bad, but I've always felt like I could be more disciplined in, like you said, prayer meditation. That's gonna be my time. That's my time. Or if it's gonna be me meditating on something for my board. How did you get to where you just made it a part of your life?
Well, let me tell you, my word for this year is discipline, right? Because again, although I am the certified life coach, it's a life is a yin and a yang. So sometimes I miss the mark. I do try to
Yeah.
stay on course a majority of the time, but it's just something that I know within me. I've been in tune spiritually for so many years that I know that once I start feeling a little icky inside, for lack of a better term, and I'll realize, wait a minute, I didn't have my morning prayer and meditation this morning. Or, maybe I skipped like 3 or 4 days because I had to jump up and run and, get busy and get the kid on school and make breakfast for my husband. So, it's just something that I just have to keep up, keep practicing. I set alarms in my phone, meditate at this time, prayer at this time. So I
Yeah.
utilize I utilize my phone alarm a lot to remind me to do these things. And I keep a journal for everything. I have at least 10 of these books. I have one for my
Yeah.
weight journey. I have one for my marriage. I have one for my business. I have one for my clients. I have so many different journals to keep track of my growth. And when I go back and look on those things, and I'm like, wow, like I'm such a different person than I was 2 years ago. And it's
Yeah.
just by way of trying to stay disciplined. It's a journey, and you're not right or wrong for missing a few days. It's okay. And I try to remind my clients that on a regular basis. Don't beat yourself up. I think that we do that so terribly as women.
Wow.
I should have this. I need to have this. I need to do this. Stop. Pause. Breathe. It's okay. I missed the day. That was yesterday. Yesterday is gone. There's nothing we could do about it. And so,
Wow.
to your question, I say it's a daily practice, and it's hard for me. It definitely is. And
Yeah.
if I miss my morning time, then I'll make sure I take it up in the afternoon when it's quiet, or even in the evening when my husband and my son have gone to bed. Then I'll use that quiet time to meditate.
I love it. I love that you're saying, um, because I forget that we beat ourselves up so often that if you just allow yourself to flow, and be okay with it. Okay, I missed that. That's fine. Doesn't make me horrible. Just keep picking it up and keep at it. and the to be transparent and say it's hard. Like I think sometimes we expect things to be easy, like or that it shouldn't be this hard. And the reality is it's just not always something easy. It's hard
Right.
to, especially when you got a lot going on in your life, a lot of busy things that you have to get done. It's not always easy to stay committed to your intentions and to be disciplined and to say, okay, if I miss morning, I'm going to grab it in the evening. But at the foundation of that is the intention to not let a day go by without at least doing something,
Something.
right? Or
Right.
doing it.
And
And
sometimes it happens, and that's okay.
yeah, I love it. I love that and I appreciate that. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Bless you, darling. Yeah.
I don't know what just went in my
Bless you.
nose. All right. So the second half, as a transformational coach, there's so much out there about coaching, and there's so many people who do coaching and in different ways, and there's so much um happening. Oh yes, that's great, Nikisha. She said, give yourself some grace. There's so much, people
Grace.
advertising they can help you coach and help you with this. But I love that you're a transformational coach. And I'm actually going through a transformational coach certification myself. I'm about midway through. Tell me what makes it a little different though. I know what drew me to this specifically transformational coaching, but what makes transformational coaching a little different than let's say just life coaching in general, and kind of some of the things you help your clients get through.
Well, I want to start by saying I myself went through a transformation, and I had a transformational coach. I was at a time where I really didn't know who I was. I didn't understand my power. Um, I had to look to others for confirmation, and
Mm,
I had a void. And a lot of people will say, well, you seek God, and he'll fill you, he will fill you up, but that didn't work for me. And I did all the things that I was taught to do in order to feel better, but those things didn't work for me. And so I sought therapy, which is something that a lot of people in our community do not do. Right? We just don't. And that starts that starts from your mother telling you, don't be out there telling my business. And so you carry that with you as an adult, and you don't want to go to therapy. But I said, I need somebody to talk to outside of my immediate circle. So I sought
yeah,
therapy. And it just so happened that she was an art therapist, and her tool was vision boarding. And so that's how I got started with the whole vision boarding community. But the difference between a life coach and a transformational coach is really they're just kind of one and the same. But the life coach is more of a motivation, so to speak, sort of, hey, hurrah, like a cheerleader. A transformational coach I want to is going to get in that behind. I had to clean that up a little bit. I wanted to say something. A transformational coach is kind of like that sports coach that's gonna say, yeah, I know you can do it. I know you can do it. Are you kidding me? You get up. So it's a little more oomph with a transformational coach than with a life coach. And not to take anything away from what
right,
a life coach
right.
is or what they do, but a transformational coach is gonna knock on your door at 4 a.m. like, excuse me, you said you wanted this. They're gonna hold you accountable, basically. So
Yeah,
it's just that slight
yeah.
difference. It's just that slight
The,
difference.
yeah, the part I like about it, at least for me, is just by the name. It's setting the intention that when you come to this type of coaching, it's because you're looking to transform your
Right.
life. You're looking to transform where you are. You're looking to transform maybe your thinking, your attitude, whatever that is. The expectation is that you are prepared to be coached through the process of change, through
Right.
the process of renewal, right? The process of some level of change. So to your point, I just think it's more, it feels more pointed towards that process of transformation. And I love that. And I love that you added with emotional wellness, because
Right.
that fits in with my hashtag healing is the only agenda, right? Like, no matter what you do, if you don't heal from your past traumas, if you don't heal from the things that got you stuck in the first place, you're still going to run aground again, because that trauma and that woundedness is going to show its and rear its ugly head somewhere again. And usually when you thought you had been done with it and over it, now all of a sudden here it goes again, and it shows you up in a space that you like, oh my God, I can't believe that showed up.
Right.
You weren't expecting it because you thought you were over it. And so, again, I love the work that you do, because it really combines the two things that are necessary. You got to be emotionally well to even get to a space and the fortitude and the
Right.
courage to transform.
Right. So what happens is, the transformation turns into self coaching, because with the tools that I
I like
provide
that.
as your transformation coach, you are able to evaluate your behaviors. And we don't always want to sit down and say as adults that we have behaviors, but we absolutely do. We
Right.
do, probably worse than the babies sometimes. But if there is if you have a pattern of, hypothetically speaking, maybe having a problem everywhere you go with a group of women, or maybe, every time you get to a job, a few months later you end up quitting because this person did this or that person did that. It is time to self-evaluate. It's time to sit
Right.
down and find a transformation coach or even a life coach and have a conversation with yourself and say, this and this has been happening to me my entire life and I don't like it. Everything starts with you. I just had this conversation with my 12-year-old because he was complaining about something. And I said, sweetheart, everything starts with you. Everything. So if there is a way or something that's happening to you that you don't like, you sit down and think about it. What part did I have to play in this? What could I have done differently to receive a different outcome? you know
Yeah.
and that that's a hard pill to swallow, because no one wants to self-evaluate, especially
Yeah.
if they're unaware that everything starts with them. I don't want to
Yeah.
hear that. I don't want. I said these past 5 guys has treated me this way. Don't tell me it's me. It's them. It's not me. Nobody wants to hear that.
It's
you know
true. It's so true. That's such a great example. Such a great example, because you can ask someone, you know, what have you learned through your past relationships? And when it's always outward putting, oh, that this person, they weren't right. They weren't, it's always the other person. Mind you, you're the only common denominator.
Hello.
At some point, you have to look at yourself,
Right.
and so I love that. And sometimes, and that's the thing people don't always understand, that sometimes your past traumas get in the way of you being able to really see yourself. So
Right.
you need that additional person to help play back to you what you just said out your mouth, and help show you your patterns of thinking. Like these
Hmm.
things, again, my mother used to always say to us, and she got it from her clients when she was doing social work and, and work in addiction, that they would say, I can see your ears, right? So we know we have ears, but we can't see our ears like we can see our hair. We can even see
Right.
our
Oh, I
nose,
like that.
our lips, but you can't see your ears. So you
Right.
need somebody to tell you if there's something going on with your ears. You need a mirror to see your ears. And
Ooh, child.
oftentimes we just assume that because they're our ears that it's all good. And sometimes people have to show us and tell us and help us see. But what I love about it with coaching is you're there. You're investing in the process of getting that feedback.
Right.
You're
Right.
investing in that process, so if there's ever a safe space. And that's another thing that so many of us as women, we struggle with safe spaces. We
Mm,
struggle to create safe spaces. I've heard women complain about other women, but we ourselves aren't safe.
right.
We safe? Can people come to us and be and tell us what they're feeling, what they're going through, and feel a level of safety, that they're being held in confidence, that they're being held in a spirit to be heard. So many times again, we're expecting other people to be who we aren't even being. So we got to be
Right.
create
Absolutely.
these, but the coaching process does allow for that safe space. That
Right. And I think the word, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
The word that comes to mind with all that you just mentioned is accountability, and not holding someone else accountable as the coachee, holding yourself accountable. And going back into whatever sessions that I've had with my clients and whatever homework I've given them, accountability accountability is a big word that I think I might add that to my list for the year as well. But being accountable for yourself and your actions and your emotions, yeah, right. That being accountable for being accountable for you and not pointing the finger outward is a very hard pill to swallow, which is a lot of what I find when I work with people automatically want to put responsibility outward on others.
Right,
So when I work with individuals, I work with that emotional wellness is learning to sit with you for a minute and
right,
figure out why you're feeling that way, and instead of lashing out and
yes,
maybe posting on Facebook or calling somebody to curse them out, let's sit for a minute and figure
right.
it
Yeah. And some of the emotional intelligence that you develop in the process, is
out.
I think also really key. Um, so I think when we're thinking of visioning and we're thinking of vision boarding, we're thinking of also getting coaching, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to talk about that, because I really do think, there are times when you need to go to therapy, but there are times that you might need a coach, right? If you've done the therapy process and you feel you're in a
Right.
healthy space, but you find yourself stuck in your productivity, you find yourself stuck in patterns that aren't necessarily tied to your trauma all the time, but you dealt with the trauma and now you're moving. And they can work in tandem as well, right? You can have your therapist, but you also can have a coach that helps you in specific areas of your life. So, my goal is to just, as we get on this healing journey, that we, and forgive me, I feel like I hear an echo. But if I don't know what's going on with this, the internet, do you hear echo coming from me? And it's a little choppy sometimes.
No, I don't.
Um,
You're fine on my end.
Okay, so maybe it's just coming back for me. But what I find though is, or what I'm hoping to do is offer people the different tools. Not everything works for everybody. You have to figure out which tools help you get on that healing journey and stay on that healing journey, right? So whether it be a combination, sometimes you need a healing cocktail, right? That is, I need to have the cocktail of therapy,
Mhm.
medication, and coaching, right? Like it doesn't always have to be a one over the other. You may need a couple of things combined together to help you really be able to get on the healing journey and move forward, and not find yourself
Absolutely.
back every time something else happens. And hey Tonya, hey Teresa, and I look at some of the women who come on, it's powerful women, and I'm sure you can't really get to be great without having someone along the way give you feedback, help you get over some humps, and I wonder how much further I could have been had I started the process sooner in my life, right? Of even knowing that this kind of coaching was available to me, or even knowing what to be coached in, right? Sometimes it takes us a long time to even realize that we don't know who we are. So, like, how do you,
Right.
or that we're not even happy with who we've become? At different stages in your life, for 18 years, I was that girl, right? I was a wife, I was this, I was that. Now I'm not that girl anymore. Who do I want to be now? And knowing that
Right.
I can set that intention and I can
Mhm.
create that.
Right.
That's exciting.
Absolutely. With
I think that's so exciting.
it is. It is, which is why I chose transformation coach, because it, it's okay
Yeah,
to
you're breaking up on my end.
pivot
Like you're getting,
in
I don't know if anybody else is experiencing it.
sort of like a snake when the snake.
Uh-oh. We've lost our coach. No, and she didn't sound like she was saying something good. Like, there you go. Are you back? That's how the devil works. Devil, you a lie. Okay, stop messing with her internet. Oh, she got bumped out altogether. No, no. All right, y'all. Y'all start to pray that she can get back into the room. Something's happening with her internet, but it sounded like she was saying something good. Yeah, mom, she's breaking up and she's just disappeared altogether. Okay. Oh, Key. Hey, Key. Oh no. Let me see. Let me see.
Am I back?
I think you're back. You're still a little moving a little slow, but all right. And it sounded like you were really getting ready to say something. You were saying something good. You were like, it's like a snake or something. It was like, then you went right out.
Can you hear me? Am I good now?
You're better. You're better. So try to tell us again what you were saying. It's kind of like a,
Okay, I have to shift. It's kind of like
hey,
a
Joanne.
transformation. It's kind of like when a snake sheds its skin and leaves that dead skin behind. It's
Mm.
the same snake, but it's a new snake, right? And so what happens is now it's time for that snake to go out and have a different experience, if you will. So that's kind of equivalent to us as women, as mothers,
Internet is going again.
as wives. It's okay to pivot in life
Okay, because you're breaking up
from
again.
time
Sounds like you said it's
to
okay
time.
to pivot in life because you broke up. So,
And
but I
there's
think I
nothing
heard.
wrong with being
Okay.
a new you.
And there's nothing
There's
wrong with
absolutely nothing
you.
wrong with that. I think, and a lot of people that surround us make us feel bad about change. But you're supposed to change in life. You're supposed to grow and have different experiences. So if that's you, and if you're going through a time period where you're shifting, don't let anyone make you feel bad about that. There is absolutely.
Okay, you went out, but let me. Hopefully, you can hear me. Let me say back what I think you heard because it was kind of choppy. We were trying to get all your words in, but it sounds like you were saying, and I think I love the analogy. Um, Okay, she got bumped out again. Her internet's just acting up. But it's not, hopefully you guys got that. That is like a snake shedding its skin. And while it's the same snake, it now has the opportunity to be new, to grow a new skin and grow in a different way. And she said there's nothing wrong with being a new you. There's nothing wrong with experiencing a shedding. Some of us call it a shifting, where there's nothing wrong with God shifting you into another space. And sometimes when you're going through that shifting and that shedding, it's not always comfortable. It's not always going to be a smooth sailing, right? It may feel like there's a little bit of struggle to get out of that last bit of that skin that God is trying to move you out of, but to recognize that the process is natural. It's necessary. And she also said, don't let anybody make you feel bad about, hey, Vazia, feel bad about shedding. Feel bad about shifting. I know I'm shifting. I know some things I used to take and tolerate, I just can't anymore. It's not in me. I know some of my assignments have shifted, where God had me in relationships and connections and spaces, and God now is shifting me in other spaces. That doesn't mean anything's wrong with the old spaces. It means that it's time to shed, and it's time to shift, and it's time to move. Right? It's all a part of the journey. All right, I think she's back in the space. You had to move to another
I
location
had
in
to
the
switch
house.
from my fancy background and get closer to the Wi-Fi. But I had to. I couldn't leave y'all hanging. I couldn't.
Listen, the last bit that you said to us, I was going in on already because it blessed me. Just giving us permission to grow. And that's
Right.
what we have to do and become better at doing as women, giving each other permission to grow, to giving each other permission to say, we used to be here, but now I'm growing and I'm over here now. Doesn't mean I'm better or different. It just means God is moving us in different spaces. We have different skin to shed, but it's all for the transformation and healing process. And that part I really appreciate even more so. So to wrap it up, because we only got 3 minutes left, are there any last words you want to say? I know you have an event coming. Please tell us about the event before you go.
Well, I'm hosting a virtual vision board workshop on January 16th at 7 p.m. And you, of course, you come with all your materials. It's going to be via Zoom. You find the link if you are on Instagram. You can find me at Monique The Coach, and you click on my link tree, and you'll be able to register for that event. The event cost is only $19.97. And with that, you get a 30-minute free coaching session after the event. We're going to do some trivia. So we're going to have music. There'll be prizes, giveaways. Like it's an entire spiritual, emotional turn up. That's what I like to call it. It's an
Nice.
experience. It's an experience. So yeah, you can go ahead and find me at Monique the Coach on Instagram to register for the workshop. Um, so yeah,
I'm
and
coming.
if
I'm
yeah,
coming to my love board. I think I want to do that at that event. Okay.
awesome. And when the world opens up, I will let you know when I'll be having an in-person workshop, because those are just phenomenal. The energy in the room is just off the charts with the
Yeah.
face-to-face workshop. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you so much, Monique the Coach. I so appreciate you coming on. You really dropped some good nuggets for us. Hopefully, you guys were blessed by those nuggets, and you're feeling the urge to be more intentional about your vision and writing it down and making it plain and leveraging your vision board. And there's so many other and fabulous women and coaches that have joined in as well. And I'm sure they're like, yeah, 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 and can attest to sometimes you can have multiple things helping you be that best person. You can have your therapist, you can have a coach, you can have those different things. And it looks like she got stuck again. And um and and move forward in your healing journey. Thank you, Monique, so much for being with us. You guys, I so appreciate you for coming on. And again, please share it with people who do a lot of talking but not a lot of producing. This might be what they need to really figure out how to move from just the talk, saying they're going to do this. Yeah, I'm going to do that and I'm going to do this, making resolutions they don't keep, to really hearing some of these nuggets about how to really do what you need to do to grow, to transform, to make 2021 a better, more productive year for you, or a year where you're manifesting more of the dreams that you really have for yourself. I love you guys. I will see you next week. We're off to a good new year. Can't ask for anything better than that, right? All right. Take care.